Yo, what's up fam? It's your favorite What If YouTuber legend, and I'm back with another video. What if Naruto was a failed experiment part 6? The like goal for the video is 6 like and the sub goal for the month is 1150 subs. So hit that sub button. But now let's get into the video after this intro. The morning air was sharp and crisp, the kind that bit at exposed skin and left a pleasant burn in the lungs. Pale moonlight still clung to the sky like a ghost refusing to fade, and not a soul stirred in the streets of Konoha. It was 4:15 a.m., and the village was sleeping. Except Ino Yamanaka. Her breathing was steady but heavy, fogging slightly in the cold morning air as she came to a slow jog at the edge of her compound. Her body, wrapped in a tight black sports bra and running shorts, glistened with a light sheen of sweat. 3 miles exactly. The early run had cleared her mind, sharpened her focus. She wasn't just running for her health. She was preparing, grooming herself for him. She slipped through the front door of her house, closing it softly behind her. Her footsteps were silent as she padded down the hall, and when she reached her bedroom, she opened the door with the careful reverence of a shrine maiden. What lay beyond was no ordinary room. The walls were covered in photographs. Hundreds of them, all of Naruto. There were pictures of him at the weapon shop, cutouts of when he was with his mother Kushina, walking through the village with ramen in his hands, gazing up at fireworks with a childlike grin. Sleeping on a park bench, laughing during a playful scolding from Minato, moments no one else would think to treasure, but Ino had. Every captured frame was precious to her, each one a shrine to the boy who had no idea just how deeply he belonged to her. Not yet, anyway. A warm shiver ran through her body as she stepped barefoot into the middle of the room. Her eyes roamed over the faces of 1,000 versions of him, stopping on one in particular, a photo of a 4-year-old Naruto staring wistfully out over the Hokage monument. It was old, sun-bleached, and slightly torn at the edges. But she loved it most of all. She lifted a trembling finger and brushed it across the image, her lips parting slightly as a smile twisted its way onto her face, beautiful, delicate, and just a little too wide. "Soon," she whispered, her voice like silk soaked in sugar. "Soon you will be mine. And only mine, my handsome blonde Namikaze." She let her forehead rest against the wall for a second, soaking in his aura through the paper and ink, before stepping back, eyes glimmering. Her smile stretched wider, and wider. Until it wasn't beautiful anymore. Until it was wrong. Until it was terrifying. 3 hours later. The sunlight pierced through the cracks of Naruto's blinds in soft gold streaks, painting the walls with gentle warmth. Birds chirped somewhere in the distance, signaling the dawn of a new day. Naruto stirred beneath the sheets. His body was stiff. He had slept hard. Too hard. Something about that bothered him, but he couldn't quite place why. As he tried to stretch, he realized he couldn't move his right arm. It was pinned. Frowning, he blinked himself awake, the haze of sleep slowly retreating. Then he saw her. Ino. Snuggled tightly against his side, holding his arm between her breasts like it was the most natural thing in the world. Her expression was peaceful, a faint smile playing on her lips even as she slept. And what she wore. Naruto's throat dried instantly. A lacy black bra barely held her modest C-cup chest, the fabric transparent enough that he could make out the soft swell of her skin beneath. Her hips, curved and perfect, were hugged by matching black panties that left almost nothing to the imagination. What the hell?" he whispered, voice cracking. He looked away, face exploding in red heat. But no matter how hard he tried to avert his gaze, something tugged at the corners of his mind. Not just the physicality of the situation, there was something wrong. Something foreign was brushing against the edges of his consciousness. like invisible hands gently rearranging his thoughts. Before he could say anything else, Ino's eyes fluttered open. "Naruto-kun," she purred, her voice husky from sleep. She lifted a hand to caress his cheek, and when her fingers touched his skin, Naruto shuddered. It wasn't just affection. It was pressure. His vision dimmed for a moment, his mind going soft, malleable. The distant tug became more intense, and suddenly Ino's face seemed brighter, more beautiful. Her eyes seemed to glow. Her smile felt like safety. Like love, like home. He didn't notice the slight shimmer of chakra around her fingertips, or how her irises faintly flickered as she focused her jutsu. She was inside his head now. Just a little. Just enough. She was crafting memories, whispering lies into the folds of his mind. Shaping reality. "I'm the only one who understands you," she murmured, pressing her forehead to his. "The only one who loves you for who you are. You don't need anyone else. Just me." Naruto's eyes glazed over slightly. His lips parted. And then the door slammed open. The chakra technique shattered like glass. "Naruto, what do?" Kushina's voice halted mid-sentence. She stared. Naruto was half sitting in bed, shirtless, dazed. Ino was lying against him, dressed in little more than lingerie, her fingers still trailing along his chest. Kushina froze. Her jaw tightened, but her tone remained eerily calm. "Ino," she said carefully, "why are you here?" Ino sat up slowly, stretching like a satisfied cat. Her sweet smile returned instantly, though there was a twitch in her cheek as she responded. "I'm simply spending time with my man. It's normal." Kushina's gaze flicked to Naruto's expression blank, confused, like he wasn't fully there. Her eyes narrowed. "Right, well, Naruto needs to get up and eat. Alone, so if you don't mind giving him a moment." For a brief heartbeat, something ugly flashed in Ino's eyes. But it vanished behind her saccharine smile. Of course, anything for Naruto-kun. She slid out of bed with agonizing slowness, making sure Naruto saw every inch of her body as she leaned down to retrieve her clothing. Her long golden hair spilled around her shoulders, the lace of her bra shifting slightly as she moved. Naruto watched without really understanding why. Ino dressed with practiced ease, then turned to Kushina and offered a shallow bow. "Have a good morning, Mrs. Namikaze." She walked past her like a breeze made of razors. The door closed behind her. But in her mind, something twisted. The brief moment of humiliation, of being ordered away, festered like rot. She would never let this happen again. They all had to go. Kushina, Minato. Anyone who dared touch her Naruto. If they wouldn't make room for her, then she would carve it out herself. With blood, if necessary. Back in the Namikaze household, Kushina was holding Naruto by his cheeks. She was looking into his eyes as she shook him and called his name, trying to snap him out of whatever mental fog he was under. "Naruto, come on Naruto, what's wrong with you? Come on, snap out of it." Naruto blinked once, twice, then thrice. He looked at Kushina, and then around the room before he spoke. I saw Ino, and Naruto blushed as he thought of her and the artificial memories she had implanted into his head. She was really beautiful. Kushina frowned slightly. She didn't like where this was going, but there was very little she could do. Kushina smiled at Naruto, though it was forced. She then spoke, not wanting to sound too problematic about the situation. "Yeah, Ino is beautiful. However, if you do decide to get involved with her, just promise me that you will be careful and stay safe." 7:29 a.m. Underground, Konoha Hospital Research Wing. Tsunade Senju stood alone in a sterile chamber buried deep beneath the Konoha Hospital's foundations, far removed from the bustling hallways above. The hum of machinery echoed in the silence, broken only by the delicate clinks and hisses of volatile compounds reacting under her steady hand. The air here smelled faintly of alcohol, bleach, and something far more acrid, chemical warfare in a glass vial. Her safety glasses fogged slightly as she leaned over the reinforced steel worktable. A brilliant glow from a chakra-laced flame under the burner cast eerie shadows along her pale lab coat, which stretched down to her shins, pristine and spotless despite the chaos of her task. Beneath it, an olive-green Haori clung to her torso, its sleeveless cut showing off the tightly packed muscle along her arms. Black compression pants hugged her thighs and calves, stopping just below her knees, while high-collared shinobi boots shielded her feet from chemical spills and chakra burns alike. 3 vials sat before her. One shimmered a pale blue, calcium cyanate. The second was translucent and gel-like, hydroxylamine nitrate. The third hissed softly in its flask, hydroxylamine hydrochloride. She breathed in slowly, chakra tingling at her fingertips, then used tweezers to draw out precisely 2.4 micrograms of hydroxylamine nitrate. The moment she added it to the base solution, the liquid in the containment vial sizzled and turned violet. Steam hissed upward, forcing Tsunade to take a cautious step back. "Stable," she muttered, glancing at the glowing gauge to her right. "Temperature holds. If this doesn't destabilize in the next 30 seconds, I might finally have a viable compound base." Her expression was unreadable, but her eyes burned with purpose. The clock ticked. The chemical fog in the chamber swirled lazily. And then the solution began to solidify into something glassy and luminescent. Tsunade didn't smile. But she allowed herself a single breath of relief. Scene change. Namikaze residence, 8:02 a.m. Naruto adjusted the collar of his dark blue jacket as he walked toward the front door. Beside him, Kushina walked with a calm, casual stride, her crimson hair flowing freely over her shoulders and down her back like a silken waterfall. She wore a simple white t-shirt that hugged her curves without apology. Her lean, toned frame was obvious beneath the fabric outlining her well-trained core and her full, shapely hips. Her black pants molded to her thighs and rear, showcasing the strength and femininity of a kunoichi who had never let age dull her edge. Her black shinobi sandals climbed to just beneath her knees, with a slight 2-inch heel that added height and poise to her powerful gait. The sunlight glinted faintly off her wedding ring. They stepped out into the street together, unaware of the single set of eyes that watched them from every rooftop, alleyway, and window. But someone else was aware. Ino Yamanaka stood a few rooftops away, her blue eyes cold and sharp. Her breath came out in soft puffs, but her expression never changed. She didn't blink, she didn't speak. She observed. Then she noticed movement below her. One of the rivals, a kunoichi in a long gray coat, darted from a rooftop and into a shadowed side street to tail Naruto and Kushina. Ino moved. The alley was narrow, lined with moss-covered bricks and overflowing trash bins. The air reeked of old oil and steel. As the gray-coated figure passed by, a hand lashed out like a striking viper, seizing her by the throat. Ino dragged the girl into the shadows and threw her hard against the wall. Her grip was iron, her face was emotionless. A gaze that no sane shinobi should have on their face. A gaze that only root shinobi had. The shinobi that were personally trained by Danzo. "Stay down," she whispered. The girl slumped to the pavement, coughing. Then her face turned upward, revealing pale eyes filled with confusion and betrayal. "Hinata," Ino said flatly. Hinata Hyuga pushed herself off the wall slowly, brushing dirt from her rear and cheek. "Ino-san, why did you do that? I was just..." Ino cut her off with a single step forward, her eyes flashing with a violent glint. "You were encroaching on my territory." Hinata blinked. "Your territory? What are you talking about?" Ino was nose to nose with her now. One hand gently circled Hinata's throat again, not enough to hurt, yet, but enough to hold her still. Her other hand slid down Hinata's side, lingering too long on the curve of her hip and brushing across her chest. Ino's long and slender finger brushed and touched every single part of Hinata's sexy body as she pinned her to the brick wall. Ino took note of how Hinata had a body that was just better than hers naturally, and the fact alone pissed her off a bit. Naruto namikaze, Ino purred, her voice dangerously low. He's mine, my man, my bond. No one touches him without my permission. Not Sakura, not you, not even Kami-sama himself. Hell, not even the damn Shinigami. Her hand slid to Hinata's thigh, squeezing gently. Hinata's face flushed, confused and embarrassed. Why, you can't be serious. Naruto-kun doesn't even know. He knows, Ino whispered. Then she slapped Hinata's ass with a firm smack, forcing the Hyuga heiress to yelp. Now leave. Go and find yourself a new plot of land to claim. Because this one's already taken. Ino turned to go, but Hinata reached out and grabbed her wrist. You think I'm just going to give up? Hinata hissed. I know I have a desirable body. A body that can make most men weak in the knees. You felt it yourself. Ino paused. The temperature dropped. Civilians walking nearby suddenly clutched their chests and fell unconscious. The sky itself seemed to dim as Ino turned back around slowly. Her bangs covered one eye. Her lips curled into a grotesquely sweet smile. Her killing intent rolled out like a tide of blood. So the mouse finally grew a spine. She lunged. Hinata leapt backward, just in time to avoid a kunai aimed at her jugular. She activated her Byakugan, hard racing, as Ino came at her again in a blur. Clang. A steel-guarded blade intercepted Ino's strike. A tall figure in a porcelain ANBU mask with cat features blocked the next blow. Enough. Ino pulled back, her expression relaxing as if nothing had happened. She twirled the kunai once and slipped it back into her sleeve. Just sparring, of course. The ANBU agent didn't lower her blade. Is that true, Hyuga? Hinata hesitated. Yes, she said, it was just sparring. The ANBU lingered for a moment longer, then vanished in a swirl of leaves. A long thin cut appeared on her cheek as it began to bleed with a stinging sensation. Hinata touched the blood on her face, heart pounding. She thought she dodged Ino's first strike, but she didn't. Ino walked away with calm grace, though her smile had returned, cruel, predatory, victorious. As she strolled down the street, the world faded, and an old memory crept forward. She was 6 years old. Her father was on a simple C-rank mission. Her mother had been baking. The scent of cinnamon and rice flour filled the house. Laughter echoed through the halls. Then the door exploded. 3 masked figures in white blank masks and trench coats stormed in, blades gleaming. Her mother screamed. Ino froze. Frozen. Unable to scream, unable to move. She watched as her mother was cut down, blood spilling across the floor. The men didn't speak. They took her. Dragged her to an underground cell beneath the tower in the forest of death. No light, no warmth. Only silence. And needles. Ino blinked. Back in the present. Naruto would be hers. No matter what it took. But guys, I'm ending it here. If you like the video, hit that like and sub button. Turn on post notifications to see when I post, but with that said, I'm out and we'll see you in the next video. Stay blessed, guys.